What you're currently looking at right now is the album case for Wu-Tang's new album slated to drop later this year, titled Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. Now, what makes this album unique isn't the cigar box casing. It's the fact that Wu-Tang has decided to just publish one copy of the album. And before auctioning it off later in the year, they're going to do a tour of the listening of the album in museums, in galleries, and apparently they'll be charging about $30 to $50. So initially, what is your feelings about this? I mean, the first question that I want to ask you, and of course I've expressed the fact that I don't buy albums. I haven't bought albums in a few years. Would I pay $30 to $50 to go listen to this album at a gallery? I would say that I wouldn't shell out that money to listen to a Wu-Tang project. Now, the reason why I say that is, let's not kid ourselves for a second. I mean, Wu-Tang's strength is in their solo projects, and they've proven that each and every time they've dropped an album after forever. You know, okay, let's be nice. Let's say Wu-Tang Chronicles. I think it was in the late 90s. Let's even give that compilation. Let's say that was, you know, a great, a group project. So they've always proven that after every Liquid Swords, after every Only Built for Cuban Links, after every Bobby Digital, they continue to prove that they're better when they're on their own. And, you know, clan members can be featured on the albums, and they're more palatable that way, and that's sort of what they've progressed into. So, you know, I'm not really willing to shell out $30 to $50 to go listen to the album. Now, at the end of last year, you guys will remember that I did the hip hop wish list with Anthony Fantano, and in that video, I said that one of the things that I wanted to hear was, you know, their last big project. And if I'm not mistaken, they are also putting out an album. I think it's A Better Tomorrow. They're releasing that, and that's just going to be a regular release, you know, which I do think takes away from the exclusivity of this album. I don't know when whichever album drops. So, even though I want to hear Wu-Tang Project, I'm seriously doubting that I'd be willing to pay that money and go listen to it. Though it's something that I would consider, because it seems like this is something that will be. This is a tactic that's going to be employed in the future. I don't think this is a gimmick. You know, what's more important here is that there is an emphasis in art. There's an emphasis for a hip hop album to be taken seriously. So when people want to say that this is a gimmick, and that's all good and well, but I don't believe it is, because it is art, and it's art being exhibited at a fucking museum or at a gallery. To call that a gimmick is to insult hip hop, which you're a listener of, and you don't feel that it should be in the same arena as great paintings and sculptures, which I feel that some albums, you know, they do. So one thing that makes this less of a gimmick is the fact that it's Wu-Tang that's putting it out. This goes along with the Wu-Tang theme, you know, the whole sort of ancient scrolls at the top of a mountain, and it's encapsulated in this golden tomb, and you need this key to open it up so you can get those ancient scrolls, you know, in some temple in Calcutta. I don't know. But this goes along with the Wu-Tang theme, you know, that fantasy, that Asian culture that they've always been swimming in, you know what I'm saying, with the kung fu and all of that. So that works. You could say that this is very egotistic, and it's a big fuck you to the people who have supported them, because, you know, I can't assume that nobody's buying Wu-Tang albums. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who are looking for them, and they might be upset to hear that they're putting out the project in the manner that they're putting it out. But I mean, this is obviously them. This is all about their legacy, which is why I feel that they shouldn't put out A Better Tomorrow, if that's the name of the album. You guys correct me if I'm wrong about that. The other album that they're putting out later this year, which is just a regular release. So this is about their legacy. This is also about, getting some change from those people who sort of decided not to pay over the last 4 or 5 projects. But, I bring it back to that question. Would you be willing to spend $30 to $50 to go listen to an album? I've been at listening parties. Listening parties, they're nothing to brag about. It's just you stand there and the artist says, this track was inspired by, it's normally like, this track was inspired by my grandmother. She died like late last year. And like this song I'm making this to honor her. That's basically what you hear. And then there's normally like too much fucking bass in the club and you can't hear anything. But, everybody just congratulates the artist. But since it's at an art gallery, since it's at a museum, I'd be interested to know, how they're going to execute this, because I'm sure there's going to be some artwork that's going to complement the music. There has to be. So that whole experience, it is intriguing. It is intriguing. And obviously once the, the dates for, or all the information comes out, there will be details of what you can actually see at the exhibits, what you can actually see at the galleries. And then that might make your boy D change his mind if they, if they add some more interesting aspects to the exhibit. But, I can't speculate about the auctioning of the album too much. I know it's later this year, as I said, and obviously if it's bought out by a major label, will a major label then distribute it? Sort of like what you had last year with Jay-Z's Magna Carta Holy Grail. They bought the first 1 million copies and then they distributed it for free to Samsung subscribers. So, whatever record label gets a hold of it, whatever private citizen gets a hold of it, I think I would much rather see a private citizen get a hold of it than a record label. I just think that it'd be really cool, that you could own something like that and just keep it, I was going to say in your apartment. I mean, if you can afford that thing, I'm pretty sure you're not living in an apartment. But nonetheless, I can't speculate too much about that. I guess the information on the auctioning will come out. And if any of you guys out there are interested in auctioning for the album, please let me know, because I need a cosigner on a car. So do you agree with this tactic that Wu-Tang has employed? Are you sick of Wu-Tang? Are they just an old group whom you're tired of hearing about, and you're tired of 90s hip hop heads fucking cackling and complaining that no one is like Wu-Tang, no one will ever be like Wu-Tang? Or are you like me? Are you a guy who loves the sound of U-God's voice, who thinks that U-God is the most underrated member of the Wu-Tang Clan? Now, I joke about that, but I'm being dead serious, but that's neither here nor there. So how do you feel about it? Please let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you freaks on Monday.